Hey, hello, and welcome back once again to Mania 7 Key World Cup 2026. And yeah, first of all, happy belated New Year's for everyone, for anyone also watching the stream right now. This is the first day of the weekend, although we did have a match on on the weekday. I think it was Thursday, which I think it was Australia versus Ireland at that point. But now, this is the start of the weekend, and we got quite a bit of a banger matchup going on, and especially for this entire block at the very least has been it's been pretty interesting so far to see how they are going to be performing in this map pool, especially when the map pool is definitely considerably easier than like we saw in like the qualifiers that they had to play at their best to get their best seeding. And at this point, now we're going to be seeing the first matchup on this weekend. It's going to be Russia versus New Zealand. I am Mifa, and I'll be commentating alongside Potassium. How's it going?
It's going very good. I'm excited for this one actually here because, as you said, round of 32, much easier maps than the qualifier. And these ones, there's going to be a lot of these maps that I think all the players in the lobby are going to be fairly comfortable with being able to play and potentially get some full combos. So accuracy, consistency is going to matter a whole lot. And when it comes to that, honestly, there is a bit of a seed difference, obviously, in this match, but I feel like New Zealand has a good chance to be fairly competitive in a lot of these maps that we're seeing. Knowing some of these players, there's probably going to be some fairly strong accuracies all round.
Oh yeah, I mean especially that given the difference level on the difficulty level on the map pool itself, in comparison to qualifiers, I think the seeding doesn't really tell you the whole story, especially when it comes to easier difficulty. Does equate to just more consistency or just much higher accuracy on average in terms of this kind of map pool, which I think New Zealand has the chance to upset Russia in this situation.
Yep, so we are getting the protects in here. I think New Zealand makes a lot of sense. They're protecting the Rice 4, so the core Jack pick here. And Russia also making sense, protecting EX3. So I feel like this is going to be a bit of a pattern that we see now that we have the EX maps in the pool nice and early. The higher seeded teams, I think, are going to be the ones that really opt to go for these EX picks. Obviously, they were high seeded for a reason, right? Russia definitely should have a higher kind of end upper level of skill. So when it comes to EX3, the hardest map of the regular pool here, that is going to be Russia's Protect.
Definitely upper bounds of the physical ceiling that Russia definitely does have, but it also comes at an expense that maybe they should have to catch up in terms of accuracy, or whether or not at that point they would have to go with some of the easier stuff, because protecting the mini tiebreaker hybrid is bold move, although I will say it's definitely completely understandable, knowing that New Zealand has to be able to play that at that difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand's players are very strong as well in their own right. They're definitely like not completely lost when it comes to their EX3, but definitely should be more in Russia's favor than otherwise. Very, very tricky map, that one. We'll probably end up seeing it later, but yeah, the core Jack map also in kind of the opposite side of things makes a lot of sense for New Zealand. It's the complete opposite as far as picks go compared to EX3. Because that one, much easier to combo. We're going to have a much larger emphasis on ratio and accuracy, which New Zealand's players, looking at Robeats and Joki, they are very, very strong ratio players.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And speaking of bans here, Russia is actually gone on an interesting approach to their bans here. It's actually banning one of the hybrids, even though they protected the hybrid, or the mini tiebreaker hybrid, that is. And of course, New Zealand has to opt to not going to play any one of the, I guess, well, Element Coordination pick anyway. There's only one, but it definitely is on quote-unquote easier, but it's kind of understandable why this is actually getting banned quite a lot, at least for the rest of the week.
It's an interesting ban to see one of the hybrid one specifically. I would have imagined Russia going for one of the more straightforward Rice bans, because I feel like that would be, at least in this stage, New Zealand's comfort zone would be like the more straightforward accuracy Rice picks. But at the other side of things, I mean, Russia's also really comfortable when it comes to Rice accuracy. They have players like, I do remember Karez on the side of Russia, kind of crushing in that department in MWC's past. And actually, they're going to go for Rice 3 themselves right out the gate, so Russia are going to be contending on this accuracy side of things early on.
Yeah, definitely feels interesting to see that going for the faster core stream pick, which I think they should be well within Russia's capability to get higher accuracy, presumably, against both either Robies and Joki. But for me personally, I've actually never seen Joki play 7 key before, so this is kind of a new ball to me.
Yeah, I mean, Joki's one of these players that I'm definitely looking out to see how he does, because obviously I have seen him play 4 key a lot, a very, very strong 4 key player. Obviously can play 7 key at a high level as well, but I've never seen it in a tournament before. And also kind of his first time playing for New Zealand in general. I think the flag change happened a year or two ago from Vietnam. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting pick because I would normally not expect the higher seeded team to pick this one first. This one is a map that I think is very dangerous for higher seeded teams generally, because lower seeded teams like New Zealand should be fairly comfortable on this one. The patterns in this one are not too tricky. Should be comfortable for all players. And it's also very short. So no matter how good Russia is, one mistake and this is a little bit of a dangerous situation, but we'll see how their own pick works out for them.
Yeah, the patterns are definitely on the more of a rolly side. Well, it's just ascending or descending stairs and whatnot. It's pretty simplistic in terms of pattern. What you would normally see is just, given the faster pace of the song, is definitely what gives you the challenge of sharpshooting things.
Yeah, I mean, even though you say fast-paced, though, 170 BPM, definitely within the comfort range. Like, this map pool is not hard enough yet for the speed to really be too much of a factor. So all around, like, these should be very comfortable patterns, and we see everyone holding really strong accuracies right now. 99.8 for 3 players. It's just X-Devil actually struggling a little bit, down at 99.6.
Yes, so far it's looking fine, but it's still just, well, I mean, I guess we're already half through the chart right now. It's just really short, so any mistake could be easily capitalized.
But actually kind of settling in New Zealand's favor. Their accuracy is looking sharp right now. Not too far behind is Russia. 5,000 points could easily be recovered with a small mistake from New Zealand. But as you said, the map's not that long. We're already in the last quarter, and it's all now about holding on to these accuracies. Robeats does drop in accuracy a little bit down to match Karez. Joki also using that 99.8. This is going to close the gap a little bit, but still in New Zealand's advantage as we're getting into the outro section now.
This is a little bit interesting because Roby is also dropping kind of gradually as time goes on, but I think it's also being capped already.
Not enough. Yeah, there were a couple of 200s being dropped by Robeats at the end, but just not enough here. And honestly, I mean, obviously hindsight a little bit, but I was really not sure about this pick from the get-go for Russia, playing kind of into New Zealand's strengths a little bit, and we're going to see an early break point.
Yeah, solid showing, and what do you know? That Joki's proficiency in terms of holding accuracy in 4 key does translate quite well into 7 key, so it definitely gets the highest score just barely by 500 points.
Yeah, I mean, both of the players, not just Joki, but Robeats as well known for having really good Rice accuracy in 4 key, and as you said, has translated pretty well. The ratio was the biggest factor there, well in favor of New Zealand overall, and now they get the next pick. And when they see that they've just won in terms of ratio, why not just go into your protect now? We are going to be seeing the Core Jack, more of a ratio battle here again. If we're going to see another 4-way FC like we just saw, maybe it will be New Zealand once again in the lead.
Can we just quickly point out that we definitely do have a protect icon just to show we're not getting at least some signage going on, just to see whether or not there's enough information to keep track on. But as we move into this pick in general, it's just constant 1-4s all the way through. So there are no bursts, there are no such thing as graces or flamps. It's all just 1-4 brawl.
Yeah, very straightforward, snapping wise. The kind of patterns are not too bad either, although there's a fairly straightforward, especially at this BPM. 107 is fairly low, fairly comfortable again, as we're starting with this kind of straightforward level in the round of 32. Interesting to see, actually, we do see Team Ibuka come out, which I would expect, but swapping out Karez being the one to swap out, who is typically Russia's strongest, one of Russia's strongest ratio Rice players in general. It's an interesting choice, but definitely
at least from
plenty of players available. I can imagine will be comfortable in this.
At least from what we've seen, that at least Team Ibuka did have did play Korjak scores, but it was like harder Korjak charts, that is. But this is on the lower end of the spectrum, where it's just you have to battle it out against ratio, which I think New Zealand seems to have quite a bit of a grasp.
Yeah, I mean, this is still kind of the level where you say 107 BPM. I think for some players it might not even really feel too much like chord jacks, or not really like jacks so much. It's more of a chord map at this point.
Yeah,
especially. I think there is sort of like, sometimes you do see a trend of 4-key players being fairly good at 7-key chord jacks as well, just because it is, that much slower physicality wise. But getting into this now, very high ratios across the board. All 4 players currently holding close to 99.9. Both New Zealand players are holding 99.98 and 99.99 right now.
It is to be expected, knowing that it is all just 1-4s, but it's kind of trickling. I mean, it's just what you would see is just flickering, but the overall accuracy doesn't really tell you the whole story. That 99.96 is just really tough to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, still close, right? X-Devil is keeping up with Joki right now, and Team Ibuka, lowest accuracy in the lobby is a 99.9. So a couple 200s really is the only difference, or even one 200 might be enough to really close this gap.
With me.
There are some awkward tension in terms of Korjak, I think, in at least the last quarter of it, which is definitely continuous enough. But at that point, it's gonna be a matter of not trying
too hard. That's a miss.
Not trying too hard to get the hits done on accuracy, because Joki, there's a miss right there, so Russia's gonna be able to capitalize on that.
On a section that had kind of less density as well, just loosening up a little bit too much, it seems. And I was saying a single 200 or a couple 200s might be enough to switch the lead. A miss is more than enough. Russia is going to run away with the lead now, and unless they find a miss immediately, there's no chance of New Zealand coming back here.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a longer jackhammer. Well, not longer, it's just green note. In max, at least, so it's not too bad overall, just to get the metronome going on.
Oh, wait!
There's a miss there.
There's no time. There's no time.
There's no time. Oh my god, that was so close.
Almost time.
1.4k difference, and it's just being separated
almost time
by 2 misses.
Oh
man, oh my god, that is sketchy.
I mean, New Zealand has the better accuracy. They have the better ratio. Row beats much better than everyone else in the lobby. Joki also beating Team Ibuka's ratio, but the only difference is the time where the misses happened. In the middle of the map is so much more punishing than in those last seconds.
It is very mind-screwy that New Zealand has that ratio being backed up, but the timing of the miss is just very unfortunate to see, because it's X-Devil misses has been on the last 100 nodes or so.
And that's a really, really unfortunate place for New Zealand, because I don't think you can really you don't really get afforded too many opportunities by a team as strong as Russia here. I think Russia now can definitely breathe a big sigh of relief. They can now start picking their own maps that I guess they should have gone to at the very start, right? Looking at the EXs potentially, maybe some LNs as well.
Yeah, I think at that point they should have gone to Sepia or Extreme 3 or Mini Tiebreaker Hybrid, that is, because that is far and away the most difficult chart in the entire pool, barring a tiebreaker.
Yeah, you really want to minimize this ratio that New Zealand has on their side, this kind of like sharpshooting accuracy. And I think exactly here, when it comes to the LNs and when it comes to the harder maps in the pool, ratio is going to matter less and less. Especially in this one here, we're not expecting good ratios. We're not expecting crazy high accuracies because the combo is going to be so much more of a focus.
Yeah, we're seeing this pick, and I guess long note release pick. I'm at the very least not too optimistic, given that this is just basically a release timing kind. Well, I guess it's pretty simplistic in terms of coordination. There are not much going on. It's just the release timing. I think New Zealand also has that too. So it's really just getting the full combo going.
Yeah, I think New Zealand's players are maybe more, like, at least in my head, I kind of think of them as a little bit more Rice-oriented players currently. Joki might be fairly good, but again, I haven't seen his 7 key too much, but really the player to look out for here is Meiju on the side of Russia. Has been a staple player on the Russian team for as long as I've been alive, pretty much, and really does specialize in these kind of maps, like the I guess the more tricky kind of release coordination style LN maps has been really where they've been playing most.
Yeah, well, now we saw Joki's performance on Rise has been mostly pretty stellar. Now let's see what the LNs, and definitely does not look like it's not very that comfortable in the intro.
Yeah, very early miss there from Joki, but doesn't bode quite well because the map's not going to get easier from this point. So you really do need a certain level of comfort to be able to hold combo at all throughout this map.
Yeah, it's just a matter of comboing, and it really does. When the releases gets pretty tricky, well, not necessarily tricky. It's just how to coordinate the release timing properly is the kind of the main goal, I think, in this chart. Which I think Robis did have like a 99.7, but now it's actually matching Meiji in this case.
And X-Devil as well. All three players kind of holding the exact same scores currently with the full combo. Joki trying to catch up at the accuracy, now above 99% again, but still has that one miss advantage in favor of Russia currently.
Yeah, this is I mean, at least Joki is recovering like very fast. It's that at that point it's just kind of like you kind of see one miss, but X-Devil, there's a miss under that one.
Interesting place to miss there, but it's going to cost. You can't really let up. It's kind of going to show you can't lose your focus on the easier sections, but now it's flickering back and forth. Accuracy now it's about even actually, but Robeats finds a miss as well. Oh, a messy one.
That's massive.
And Russia takes the lead right back now with a strong accuracy lead. No one there to match Meiju's accuracy. No one there really to match X-Devil's accuracy either. So this is a very, very comfortable lead all of a sudden.
Yeah, it kind of does seem to me that Robeats did kind of just not holding the belongings on like column 6 and 7 appropriately. So it's just really that what's costing this point.
You know, don't say that number. But yeah, I mean, it's very common to see on maps like this when you do mess up because of the slow nature of it, because of the number of columns that you're keeping track of. If you do mess up, it's so easy to completely lose your position, and it's not going to stop at one miss. It's going to keep changing.
Yeah, looks like this is quite a at least one miss from X-Devil did find. I have some skepticism about this pick, and I think it kind of translated well, but they should be very thankful that Robius missed like 3 times in that section.
Yeah, I mean, I think like Meiju's score is. Oh, it would have actually been close. Look, I mean, Robeats' ratio is exceptional right here. Actually, New Zealand's ratio overall is just better. Yeah, actually, yeah. Looking at it now, without these 100s and misses, if all else was constant, it feels like New Zealand would have a little bit of an advantage as far as the accuracy is concerned. But again, this map, not necessarily about the accuracy. You can't really expect the teams to always find the double full combo on a map like that, and that's really what Russia was hoping for. So it did go out in their favor. 2-1 up now. Russia takes the lead in the matchup, and New Zealand gets the pick back. They do have 3 more Rice maps. Well, I guess 4 more Rice maps if you want to count the EX, but I don't think they're going to want to go to EX1 just yet. We're going to see the speed map first.
Yeah, this is about what you would expect, I think, for most Rice-oriented players try to choose. And this is just well within the range of not too fast either, but it's definitely one of the things that you can possibly trip Russian players up.
Yeah, and again, another short map. A lot of these Rice maps are fairly short in drain time. This one less than 2 minutes as well. But this one also within the kind of similar realm of Rice 3 that we saw before is a bit more comfortable in the patterning compared to some of the other Rice picks. So maybe it might see some more full combos here, in which case the accuracy from New Zealand is going to be the focus.
Yeah, hopefully it's just that, I think in terms of speed picks in general, you kind of have to sacrifice a little bit of accuracy just to get the combo going, but I think at this BPM it's just, it's kind of not enough just to trade off your accuracy just to get the combo going, because what New Zealand did has been pretty stellar in terms of ratio and everything.
Yeah, accuracy is looking super strong. It's all up to now the combos and whether they can avoid those mistakes like they made on the Rice 4 and on the LN. Because it's looking like if New Zealand can hold together their combos, every pick is looking fairly contestable right now.
Yeah, and also we also have to mention that after this pick, when we're entering the 5th pick, they will have an extra ban after this pick, so they're gonna have to strategize on whether or not to avoid being picked by their respective opponents here.
Of course, yes, the changes to the structure of the matches definitely something to pay attention to here. So, as Mifa said, 1 more ban per team after this pick. So we'll see how this one goes now. For New Zealand, they're definitely going to want to keep things close as far as the score is concerned. Russia would love another breakpoint as well, but right now, really close in terms of the accuracies. Wait, those are some crazy... Oh, Jokey actually won this. I was going to say there was some crazy accuracies on the side of New Zealand, but now giving over the advantage to Russia. Still, actually, accuracy is tied between the teams, so no accuracy advantage either way. Just that 1 miss difference.
Looking to be kind of costly, actually, for even though you get the full combo going, but I think Correa's is kind of tripping a little bit dangerously in terms of accuracy. I think kind of still on rivaling against Jokey, even with the miss.
And now we're seeing actually Jokey start to pull ahead of Correa's now, and Robeat's ahead of Meiju as well. This accuracy lead is in New Zealand's favor, but the miss earlier is still keeping it in Russia's
pulling
lead.
Closer, actually.
It's shrinking, yeah. 3,000 points only. This is looking fairly dangerous.
Correa's needs to step up a little bit more, I feel, because it's now shrunk to 3,000 points now.
He's going into the 2,000 range as well. I don't think Russia can afford much in the way of accuracy drops anymore. Even a few 200s is enough to close this gap completely.
Robeats is staying put, at least beating Meiju's accuracy here, so it's just all onto the section right now.
Oh, there's another miss from Jokey, and that pretty much seals it here. We're in the outro already. Simply not enough time, and Russia has that consistency. They have that ability to get these 2-way full combos that they have been getting. And now it's another break point, the 3rd break point out of the 4 maps that we've seen so far.
Quite formidable V1SS by Meiju there, even though that's the 3rd best ratio in the entire room.
Yeah, oh my god, what is Robeat's ratio on that? That's incredible ratios, but yeah, I mean, ratio's not going to matter if the opponent is able to double FC and you aren't. So Russia going to be just the more stable team, it feels like so far. But now we do get the 2nd ban phase coming in, so we get another set of rolls to see who's going to ban 1st and 2nd.
I think in my mind, New Zealand should not go with any more of the LNs or technical hybrid stuff.
I feel like New Zealand might want to ban like LN3. I'm not sure what New Zealand would want to ban actually. Maybe one of the EX picks. But yeah, maybe New Zealand want to ban one of the EX picks because the combo wise, Russia has definitely been a step ahead so far in the match. I think Russia's ban is much more straightforward here. Just going to ban one of the 2 Rice picks remaining.
Yeah, this second ban is you have to be really careful on what to ban because strategy revolves around this the remaining picks in general. So if you just ban the wrong pick, then you're kind of screwed in terms of strategy.
Maybe banning Rice 5 might be a good idea for Russia because that one is a bit more focused in getting good accuracy with the tricky sections of Act there, but Rice 2 also a good ban in and of itself. Obviously the other chord stream pick, and we just saw already how good New Zealand is at chord stream overall.
Yeah, New Zealand's turn to ban something, and I definitely do feel like LN3 should be banned. I feel, knowing that Russia took well, they protected mini tiebreaker hybrid for a reason.
Yeah, okay, EX2 being banned instead, because I'm thinking like LN1, obviously a very different type of LN map compared to LN3, but still, when it comes to that kind of difficulty, New Zealand was still able to keep up. And just, you know, 1 or 2 misses short of being able to tie that score up. So LN3 maybe is still, you know, on the easier side enough for New Zealand to be able to pull off a competitive score, but the EX maps are where things are really, I think, maybe a bit too hard for New Zealand to keep up.
Is this where Russia's gonna pick Sepia? Or mini tiebreaker hybrid?
I mean, they should, I think, at this point, right? Now's the time in the match. We are approaching kind of towards the end of the match now if Russia manages to close out the next couple. This is the point where they want to slam their foot in the door, kind of.
I mean, here's the thing, because I think New Zealand still has the X1 at their disposal and Rice 5, so it's just that 2 Rice pick, and at some point they're gonna have to pick any of the hybrids. So it's just kind of not very good if New Zealand has to go with those 2 at the very least.
Well, I think the problem for New Zealand right now is they kind of don't really have EX1 as a very good pick. Wait, what? What?
Huh?
Why is Russia picking Rice 5? That's New Zealand's pick.
That's interesting.
What's New Zealand gonna pick then?
Well, EX1, that is?
in my eyes, this was like the only viable pick really for New Zealand to pick next. So Russia's picking it first. I guess it would have been picked either way.
Yeah, it's just kind of messing around with your pick order, I feel, for New Zealand, because I think New Zealand, in their minds, I think they would go for that. I think the first pick would have been this, rather than the EX1.
I think maybe Russia might be picking this one because it's more comfortable for them to combo compared to the other maps, but I feel like it's obviously the same way for New Zealand though, right? And if all 4 players do full combo any map, I feel like New Zealand has a bit of an advantage. So I mean, it's just a better idea in my eyes, at least, for Russia to pick the maps that are harder to full combo. But they have been doing very well on Rice regardless. So still very strong map for Russia. It's just also a fairly scary map for New Zealand as well.
Yeah, this chart operates on a swing, so accuracy might be at the expense of that, but I mean, it's just full combo. That is what matters, right?
Oh my god, what are these stats for New Zealand? 99.9.
Oh yeah, 99. Oh well,
it was early in the map,
8.
but still, these are not the kind of rhythms that you're expecting to get good ratios on.
Kind of wondering what was into Russians' minds at the very least. But I mean, now it's getting a little bit harder now in terms of getting the foot going because Yoki is actually kind of the lowest accuracy, just a bit similar on the Team Ibuka's accuracy.
Yeah, the 200s coming in for Joki, definitely going to tie up the accuracy side of things. New Zealand in a very slight advantage, but Joki dropping a little bit more. Now Team Ibuka beating out Joki. Robeats is beating out both of the Russian players though, so it's going to stay very, very slightly.
There's a 50, I think, on Joki's side.
Oh yeah, Joki struggling with these patterns, but there's a trade of misses. At the same point, actually, so it's gonna even out, no big advantages either way. Team Ibuka a little bit ahead of Joki, and now Robeats and Kareza are exactly the same accuracy, so advantage Russia, and they're leading by... Oh, are they even leading at all? I don't know. This is too close.
Team Ibuka kind of dropping gradually. Joki is also kind of at the same pace on Team Ibuka's accuracy now. Still last quarter remaining.
Oh, it's so close. Again, Kareza Robeats, same accuracy. It looks like now 99.7. Team Ibuka is about 0.1% above Joki. That's the whole lead. That is all of it. Couple of 200s is enough to flick this back. It's only 2,000 points, and we're at the end of the map already. There goes Robeats' combo, though. The full combo is gone, and now Russia just has to hold on, as they do.
Oh my god. Russia's in a... They picked this on a precarious situation, but it eventually paid off.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's still paying off, but I feel like they might have had an easier time with another pick. That's all I'll say. Still, match point for Russia. They are on some big momentum, and this has really put New Zealand up against the wall because what do they pick next? They cannot continue with their previous picking strategy anymore.
The only rice pick remaining is the EX1, and I highly doubt they would go for that if they are not being at the very least somewhat more confident in their comboing ability.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, you know, Russia has been fairly clearly in the lead when it comes to combo throughout this match from start to finish. So the EX picks I don't particularly like for New Zealand, but the question is, you know, what do I like more? Maybe Hybrid 2? Like that's a kind of idea. That one has more of, you know, more rice patterns within it.
I mean, most of these have been. Most of the hybrids have been relatively just 2-to-1 in terms of rice ratio.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe that's the next best place for New Zealand to go to. Like the LN patterns are not going to be intrusive enough for Russia to get much of a lead there. But I can't really see New Zealand picking LN3. That one I think is off the table. Hybrid 3 though. Okay, we're going more of a technical option here. I think still kind of works. I can see it.
Much higher risk than Hybrid 2 in this case to me though.
It is. I mean, to be fair, when you're up against Russia in this situation, I don't think there's a non-risky pick. If that makes sense. Every map is high risk right now for New Zealand at least.
Yeah, this is more in line in terms of Rice 5, but you just include Ellens in it.
Yeah, and we did see how close Rise 5 just was. Definitely could have gone either way. Definitely could have been New Zealand's point in that map. But this one in particular, again, we're seeing, of course, Meiju coming in on the side of Russia. X-Devil as well, it seems. But the LN patterns at least should be slightly Russian favored.
Kind of wondering that. I don't know if the other two New Zealand players are available because it has been both of these players at the very least.
New Zealand is one of those teams that has, I think they have like 3 main players that we'd expect to be playing. So Robeats, Joki, and the third player, Do You Fart, was the other player that played in the qualifiers. But I think the problem with Do You Fart in particular is that while they're very good at LNs generally, they are definitely not an accuracy player. So I think we're going to be seeing more of them in the later stages of the tournament if New Zealand make it that far. as opposed to the start, because these maps definitely the accuracy matters a whole lot. So I think these two players, they're kind of axe specialists on the side of New Zealand. That's why we're seeing them play everything. But so far, good starts, except for X-Devil actually dropping down to the low 99s.
Still somewhat kind of getting a little bit inconsistent in terms of releases for X-Devil, but it definitely eventually catches up, but at a faster rate for Shokin may choose recovery in terms of accuracy. But what matters is that you hold to the entire thing without missing.
And it looks like actually this advantage is one of the biggest accuracy advantages we've seen so far this match. Robeats right now 99.7, Joki also above both the Russian players on 99.5. So 7,000 points in accuracy alone, but there goes both misses! New Zealand collapses on one part of the song, goes in favor of Russia now by a few thousand. There's another miss from Robeats.
I don't think that's a miss, because it's the combo still the same.
Yeah, okay, that was a client then. But still, one miss each for both players on New Zealand. Still 2 4 combos on the side of Russia now. And those misses have also evened out the accuracy a fair amount. Still accuracy in favor of New Zealand, but it's not going to matter if they keep finding misses like that. Russia holding on, they are combo gaming, and that's all you need. If you have a whole team full combo, Russia's just going to start to run away with it now. X-Devil will find a miss. That's going to cut the lead down quite a lot, but it's against 3 misses for New Zealand, so it might require a bit more than that.
Lead's kind of dropping to 4,000 now.
It's shrinking, actually. This lead is shrinking quite fast. But might require one more miss, potentially, on the side of Russia. Oh, 3,000 points, 2,000 points,
no.
but 1,000 points!
Oh my god!
Oh
they
my god!
Almost made it out.
New Zealand almost winning that back by pure accuracy, but 3 misses were just one too many to recover from in the end. Meiju with the only FC, and that one was enough to bring Russia to the end of the match 5-1, but those were some very close maps the whole match through.
We're living on a precarious situation that combo matters a whole different level in the 7-key territory, and it definitely shows that combo gaming gets you pretty far. So Russia, we're gonna hand the win 5-1 against New Zealand, but I mean New Zealand's accuracy has been on top of all these picks in general, so this would be one of the greater assets, I feel, in the round 16 if they manage to get the consistency.
I mean, I feel like with so many of those maps like being decided at the very end, this could have been obviously a 5-1. It could have also been a 2-4 the other way, it feels like, you know, depending on how some of those maps ended. So definitely a really strong performance from New Zealand, but Russia able to take it home with their consistency, and they're going to be moving on in the winners bracket. New Zealand going to go to the losers bracket, where I'm sure they will scare a lot of teams with some of that accuracy.
Yeah, absolutely. This for at least for the next opponent for Russia is definitely they're gonna have a much more difficult opponent, because knowing that accuracy wasn't their strongest suit, but it definitely what comes to mind is that if they can hold combo, that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So that will be the only match that we have for now. We have plenty more matches coming up, not too long. So the next one being Japan versus Norway. That is going to be in at 11 UTC, so in about just under 1.5 hours from now. And then we have a bit of a few matches in a row after that.
Yeah, it's quite definitely what you would expect from a busy weekend, because all that it takes is the weekend block is definitely quite an interesting one, because I think the next match and the next 2 matches are probably what most people would probably expecting to see the powerhouses, because Japan in particular has been operating on the same players as well. Korea also has operating at least most of the same players as well. So maybe it's gonna be fun to watch, especially for trying to see the underdogs, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how those ones turn out. Make sure you stick around 11 UTC, come back, because we'll be here with more matches for the weekend. And until that, we'll see you next time.
Yeah, stay tuned for the next match and take care.
Suddenly the deepness can get